Hello fellow Disney Plus watcher, I'm excited to talk about Disney Plus with you today. New here? Why not click these two buttons if you love Disney Plus as much as I do? Welcome. Folks, okay, something hilarious dropped on Disney Plus today, and it's legacy content actually. Marvel Superheroes Adventures Frost Fight. If that doesn't sound like a good time to you, then I don't know what will.
So there's Santa, and then there's presents. Also there's songs, cookies, sleigh bells, sweaters, pine trees, and then... boom!
Completely full-on spoilers for the entirety of this movie, but come on, you don't care, right? Let's just have a laugh here in this video, and in the comment section afterwards, let me know if you've seen Frostfight or are going to, and if you haven't yet, I watched it so you don't have to. Really, rewatch the original Thor if you want to enjoy some Frost giant adventure. That would be my recommendation. Oh, and just on a side note, if you're a big fan of this movie, there's no shame in that, of course. I'm glad you do. I'm just gonna have a ball here and dissect some of the hilarious, unbelievable choices in this cartoon. I know it's for kids. I know I'm nitpicking it to death at some points in the video. I know. The story is basically the Avengers trying to stop Loki and his accomplice Ymir, the ice god of Niflheim, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, who are looking for the casket of ancient winter. Because, well, the villains want to conquer the world and turn the planet into ice and snow or something like that. Basically the gist of it. But there's more to it than that, because this is not just a Marvel winter adventure, this is a Marvel Christmas special. And you know those instances where an IP like Star Wars, for instance, one of which is so not suited for a Christmas makeover, but still somehow dares to make a Christmas special. Oh wait, Marvel's doing it again this year and I'm very excited for that. Well, I'm a hypocrite then. Well, this movie feels like that. A complete misfire. This didn't work, but I love that it exists. It's so bonkers and ridiculous at first, then gets boring for the majority of the middle part, and then gets completely nonsensically hilarious again. I'm gonna talk about the ridiculously confusing opening scene and the ridiculously hilarious final scenes of the movie primarily. Okay. The beginning of the movie where Ymir attacks a tropical island and the Avengers try to stop him, all the while retrieving the casket of ancient winter, is so confusing. The Avengers' mission objective is to find and retrieve this casket, so all this time they're fighting Ymir while struggling to get the information about the whereabouts of the casket. That's the mission. And then suddenly Captain Marvel flies from above and she looks down and says, "I have a visual on the casket." And Ymir just opens his hand and there it is. All this time he just had it in his pocket or something. He fought the Avengers with this in his I don't know what, but it gets more ridiculous. So this hero I've personally never heard of before, but who acts exactly like Peter Parker, Reptile's the Santa believer of the group. He serves as the relatable young naive hero, so he's kind of the oddball of the group, the new kid. So this kid is, like Captain Marvel, patrolling the scene and he spots Loki, and Loki's like kilometers away from the fight, but there he is. And the movie plays like he's that villain they weren't prepared for. The surprise big bad in this scene. Oh, you thought Ymir was bad? Well, then get ready for some Loki, you know? And the confusing thing here was that Loki and Ymir do not share the screen even once in the opening sequence, and it looked like Loki was the ultimate big bad and had no shared plan with Ymir. Like, haha, now I pull the strings. Oh man, this story just got bigger, you know? They play it like that. So Loki pulls up a beam in the sky because, of course, the scene had to end at some point. That's literally the reason. Like, there's no clear reason except escaping the scene. The objective from the Avengers team is clear from the start, retrieving the casket, but what Ymir and Loki are doing there, except throwing around some ice and cooling down planet Earth, or something, it's a mystery. And Ymir goes out like a little bitch, as if he's a victim of Loki's bigger plan. While watching this sequence, I was completely sure about Ymir just being a pawn of Loki at this point, merely a tool. I thought, well, maybe these two aren't even sharing the same plan, because Loki sucks Ymir with him on his way to his demise in the same way he does that to the Avengers. And the next scene, not even joking, Ymir the Frost Giant is sitting on his throne and we find out he has a higher status than Loki. He's the Lord. And just seconds earlier, he was like, oh, sucked into the beam in the sky by Loki. It's so confusing in light of what went down. So now they're partners in crime. Ymir's on the throne, so I guess he's ultimately in charge. But the most bizarre of details that I almost missed during the opening scene was this right here. Lifeguard on ice. You see that little pun? You see what it means? This is a tropical island that only just got covered in ice.
That was a joke, right?
So someone, one of the Avengers probably, thought it would be fun to throw in this pun here during the fight? What? Okay, this is unnecessary nitpicking, but I think of the complications here. Okay, then a scene later, they explain to us what's going on, what their end game is. Santa Claus is part frost giant and part elf, who is basically a superpowered god in this movie. But he didn't use his power to rule, Ymir explains, but to help the weaker ones, the little children.
Today, Mjolnir is better known as Santa Claus.
So the plan of Loki and Ymir is to steal that great power of Santa and use it to, you know, conquer the world or something. It's not really clear. And from there we go into a lot of boring questing, meeting elf people and the Avengers planning and talking. And there is an exposition scene, by the way, where they're discussing in detail the math, if you will, of how many presents for how many people, how many kilometers even, Santa has to spread around in order to be done with it in one night. Like, they explain the logistics here. I mean, for the littlest of kids watching, doing that is dangerously close to ruining the mystique of Santa Claus. No one should be talking about the logistics of Santa Claus's night of delivering presents. That kills the mystique. But I thought it was hilarious to have this little Marvel Christmas special for kids go into that direction. Like, they're on a quest to secretly ruin stuff, I don't know. Another subplot that's completely unbelievable. Rocket and Groot try to capture Santa Claus and accidentally almost strangle his wife to death instead of him, like they mistake her for Santa Claus. And immediately after that happened, Santa's wife mistakes these two for pranksters who didn't really mean it that way. So Rocket and Groot mistake her for Santa Claus, and then she just immediately accepts it. And what? 3 seconds ago, Rocket pointed an armed gun at you and you were strangled by a tree, you woman. And the funniest thing, Santa's wife even takes them with her to go see him because she just assumes they're good friends of him. It's not even a sleazy alibi Rocket and Groot come up with, you know, to come up with a plan. It all hinges on the stupidity of one of the stupidest, dumbest person ever put the screen. Okay. Can't even talk anymore. I'm starting to love this movie as a guilty pleasure. But maybe, just maybe, there's even more absurd things in this movie. So there's this throwaway fight between the Avengers and a loose reptilian beast. I don't know what it is, kind of like a dinosaur. And after a while, one of them has an idea, and yep, here we go. Reptile can change his arms into reptilian claws, you know? Well, apparently also is his head. Hey, look at it. And it soothes the beast and it makes it think little Reptile is her little baby boy. Aww. I don't know. It's so random. I do want to mention some very cool imagery during a scene where the Avengers and some elves are fighting a beast. We see these shadows of each and every one of the heroes one by one, and it's actually quite creative and beautiful. And in such an absurdly bad movie, a glimmer of creative visual storytelling is so welcome that I'm probably fooling myself with just how much I like this moment. But without falling into the trap of recapping every scene, should we talk about Groot and Rocket fighting gingerbreads?
Giant piece of angry gingerbread incoming! Let's break down these gates.
Nah, skip that. It's too much. The final few scenes is where I realized I'm so glad I watched this thing, because I'll never forget the absurdity of how this story wrapped up. Love it. So, Santa Claus is not... Okay. Santa Claus is not really a part of this movie until the very, very end. And guess what happens? Loki traps all of the Avengers in a green force field. Only Reptile and Santa Claus are still running around free. But Loki shoots down Santa with his staff and he almost dies. But then suddenly, the force field disappears. Huh? Loki's astounded. What happened? How did this happen? Santa's response? If there's belief, there's Santa Claus. That's his line. Literally, that's the line. That's the conclusion of the movie. How great is that? Yeah, Santa Claus is back! Reptile only had to believe. Yeah. What the hell, man? And I love Reptile's line moments earlier where he's trying to wake Santa up. Like he's almost he's dying, and he literally says to him, "Say it with me, Santa. Ho, ho, ho."
You serious?
The writers know this movie is a complete joke. I love the self-awareness that's hidden in there. But okay, the power field around our group of heroes disappears because Reptile believes in Santa or something, as I explained. And then, after a quick chat, the Avengers decide to do the noble thing and help Santa with the presents because he's behind schedule. I thought, oh yeah, of course they're doing that. Okay, fine. It's not like they're gonna show that on screen. It's too ridiculous. Oh my god, they're doing it. Oh, okay, enough. Okay, just leave it as it is. Let's just finish this movie, okay? Oh, okay, snap. They're going really all, oh no, don't show me this. Oh, Jesus Christ. Just kidding, I love it actually. This is so dumb. Look at it. I love this. All these questionable decisions, easy defeats by our heroes, a misplaced and underused Santa Claus. I can think of so much that's wrong with this movie, but I don't care. It's a beautiful dumpster fire with the most confusing opening fight I saw in recent memory, a boring middle act, and a hilariously punchline of a final confrontation. And now, just because, a little clip of this movie in Dutch. Because I'm Dutch, I'm from Holland, so why not?
Ik was het wachten meer dan zat. Waar is Jolnir?
Denk je nou echt dat wij dat gaan vertellen, Loki?
Dat zou erg ideaal zijn.
And don't worry, of course I watched it in English. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. I'm curious, have you seen this movie or are you going to? Are you a fan of Marvel cartoons in general? Be sure to let me know in the comment section. Did you like this video? Then there's a button to express that. Thank you so much. For now, have a wonderful day and see you around.